what I've tried to do, the training, training has a bit of a stigma attached to it, especially with a lot of the commoditization of Agile and Scrum and other offshoots from those sort of techniques. And of course, even I'm still a professional Scrum trainer, and I still enjoy having that badge, and I still enjoy my engagement with the Scrum community, and the professional Scrum community is actually a really, really good community of trainers. And I'd recommend anybody to take professional Scrum training. So I still wouldn't argue against that. But I've had several Scrum trainers reach out to me who want to add the flow system and the various different levels of curriculum to their portfolios to offer, because there's gaps in the market and there's gaps they're trying to solve. And Scrum is answering a certain question, but it's not answering all the questions. And we see now we've got professional Scrum with Kanban, with UX, with XYZ, all good extra tools in the toolbox. The challenge is it's not answering all the other aspects like leadership and team science. It's not going, they talk about Scrum being for complex product development, but then they don't explain what complexity is. So that's an interesting concept. And I talk to my friends at Scrum.org and who I participate with about things of that nature, and we have many great conversations. So I'll see some of those things evolving. But what I've tried to do is to produce a way that trainers can engage with the flow system, which is a key differentiator from the rest of the market. And I've been through the trainer approval committee process with the Scrum Alliance, and I went through the whole program with Scrum.org for become a professional Scrum trainer. And of course, early in my life, I was working with other organizations on different training approaches. And most of them sort of, and I'm mirroring some of that. Most of them sort of put you through some train the trainer program. You pay a chunk of change for that. Some of them charge you as much as $5,000 just for the training. And then you pay your annual subs, which are required for licensing agreements and stuff. And then you go off and sell that one size fits all, or that single, narrow lensed framework. The first thing we wanted to do was produce a curriculum that was exceptional. 31 different potential learning opportunities, 5 core mastery concentrations based around 5 core subjects, which is equivalent of a university degree at MBA level. And as you'll find out later this year, it's going to be offered as an MBA concentration by a major US university. More on that when the announcements we're able to make those announcements formally with more detail. So the first thing I wanted is trainers that were more educators. I wanted trainers that truly understood the material, not the superficial bit, not more substance than style. So that's the first thing I wanted to get to. The next thing is I wanted to give trainers a range of options. And a lot of these are NDA, so I'm not going to go into the detail of them. They're a non-disclosure because they're confidential, people following that trainer path. But I wanted to give trainers a number of options where they could invest in themselves and invest in their businesses and in their training schools, their coaching practices, whatever that might be. And I wanted to give them a range of ways they could offer the training. One of the key things that we've done is built, and we're the only people doing this in the industry we inhabit. So there's plenty of academia, and there's Udemy, and there's, Coursera, and these where you can go and watch a 5-minute video to cook a souffle or something. And, you pay your $99 a year for the subscription, you watch all this stuff, or you can go to YouTube for free and find it, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're familiar. You're going to say something, James?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm sure there's a Scrum course or two on Udemy or Udacity or whatever.
Yeah. But this tends to be bite-sized learning. It's not education. It's just training, basically, just superficial, sort of stylistic. Some of it, to give consideration to some of the courses, do go a lot deeper into that. But the challenge is you can pay to take that. But if you as a trainer out there, have you tried to get on Coursera or Udemy or any of these other big platforms? Unless you're, a VIP or a notable personality, the likelihood of you getting on there and teaching is nigh on damned impossible. Yeah. And the price, the bar to entry is extremely high. And indeed, if you've ever gone through some of the trainer sort of assessment processes with some of these organizations, you also know the bar is pretty high, and it's just very challenging to get into there, assuming you've got thousands of dollars to get through that process to begin with. So I tried to remove that burden, because that's a burden. I want trainers teaching and educating what we're offering, not struggling to become trainers. And that's what a lot of people spend time struggling to become a trainer. That doesn't mean we're going to give them an easy pass. Doesn't mean the work is not hard. The investment in their time is exceptionally high, and their pass rate. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone who, if you have not taken the flow system yet, it is not. No one would say that's easy. It is like drinking from the largest fire hose I can imagine. But anyways, just saying, it
Well,
is
no,
not just
but
no shulk.
that's the point. So I want to make the bar to entry low enough for them, so it's not hard for them to start the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to give them full support through the whole training process. So what we did, which was unique, I think it's unique, at least in the industry space we inhabit, we created the online offerings. So our entire curriculum will be available online, fully self-paced learning. As you know, you're doing the foundations course. They're saying this isn't any throwaway training you can just hop on, hop on and do. This is a deep learning path. And we wanted to give trainers access to this material so they can learn deeply. So part of the Train the Trainer program is to take courses online. The same course is offered to anybody who wishes to buy the courses and take the courses. So that's the first thing. But then their peer review process, their proctoring and their peer review will be much higher than those taking it just to get the accreditation of acquisition of knowledge and skill at the normal learning level. The bar is much higher. But what this does also, and this is the magical piece, first of all, it's all online. All my knowledge, Professor Turner's knowledge, Brian Rivera's knowledge, and a number of experts like Dave Snowden, people from Cognitive Edge, people from the Lean World, their knowledge is in this system. And their knowledge is available now to learn online. And and then the basic subscription, the basic price gives you 6 months access to this whole material. And you get all the usual access to assessment accreditation. You get access to Slack, and you get open channel support on the Slack. There's some options to get dedicated support, even learning cohorts. And these things are important if you're a trainer. Because how about this? How about we change the training paradigm? And I think this is a phase shift. Mm-hmm. I've absolutely loathed and despised trying to deliver training like this.
Yeah,
let's all use Mural and Miro. Yeah.
So first of all, it's not on my channel right now, yo. Just saying.
But the products are hard work. The resource intensive. If you've got a crappy computer, you got Zoom running and Mural or Miro running and something else. The fans are going on the computer. The CPU's dying. The video's jerky, and then you got all the learning curve on Mural. I've used Mural training corporate clients. And they and even though I've locked the board down and designed it well, they go click on things and suddenly the post-it note becomes 48 feet wide and they don't understand Control or Command Z to sort of back that out and all that sort of thing. It's a nightmare. And the cognitive drain on you as the trainer, and I'm the student, is excessive. So guess what trainers are doing? They're teaching now a class that used to teach in 2 days across 3, 4, 5 days. So you're getting paid the same amount of money for 2 days to do the work in 5 days. And guess what? The customer thinks it's easier for you to teach it remotely. So they want to pay you less money. Mm-hmm. And it's actually more work, harder work. They should be paying more money because it's much harder to deliver like that. Sure. And the class sizes have had to reduce because of the learning. And we can't put 40 people in an online class. It'd be a hideous learning environment. So all the cards are stacked against you. And I actually think, and I said this in one of our previous conversations, I think the whole training thing this online thing is not the best way to learn. I mean, people take the training, they get this inspiration, they all run around and cheer and think it's fantastic, 5-star ratings on, whatever whatever the star rating services are. I forget the name now. It's getting late in the evening while we're recording this. But the thing is, they go and do all that, and then all the usual problems ensue. They go back to work and they can't implement it. And in this virtual world of work as well, it's a damn sight harder to implement. So we've created this extensive learning platform, just the foundations course. If you do everything we've put on there, you've got up to 120 hours of learning. That's a lot more than any 2-day class. Doesn't mean you have to do it all, and there'll be parts that you know more than others, and you'll do deeper learning in parts, less learning in others because you're familiar with the material. And we've had somebody sort of go through the whole course in a 2-week period online. But that's 2 weeks, yeah? And we're talking about people with real capability and expertise in the industry. And now they've still got 6 months access to all the assets, all the deep learning, all the material. You become a trainer, you get perpetual access to all these assets and all this material to constantly dip back into, pull assets from, pull all the material from, have access. We create all the material for you. And this is something that, you know, as a professional Scrum trainer, I became used to as a Scrum trainer with Scrum. Or they produce the standardized decks that everybody uses. That's why the training is high quality, because they're standardized decks. Everybody's got this standardized mandatory material. Doesn't mean you can't add your own flair and your own complementary practices in, but we give you this whole material, so you don't have to go create a deck. And if anybody's ever seen my visuals, my decks, you know that it's all pretty pictures and lots of visuals, and truthfully, they take thousands of hours to develop. I've got about 8,000 slides now in my sort of repository, and that's years of learning and years of graphic design to create the level of visual sort of teaching and the visual aids that we've got. And then there's all the exercises, games, activities, and teaching aids to help people learn. But how about we change the paradigm? How about instead of going and doing 2-day classes, give them a certificate if they pass some, you know, easy peasy test, and then off they go? How about you sell them the online learning platform? How about you get a share of that income? How about then you're able to sell them in conjunction with that online learning platform, a learning cohort? So how about you're able now to set up a coaching program where you put in a few hours a week to support your learners? They're doing self-paced learning. You're interacting with them in a Slack channel, which we provide the Slack for you. How about then you create cohorts, which are small learning groups of a maximum of 10 people who are studying the course, and you can have multiple cohorts and you can have multiple coaching sessions themed around the thematic elements of the flow system: complexity, leadership, flow, lean, all these sort of things. And that means then you're able to work with many more people in the same time frame. You don't have all the overhead and the stress of in-person training. You get away from this difficult learning environment. People are learning at their own pace, digging into the knowledge, reaching out to you via Slack for asynchronous support. And then every week you're providing 1-hour coaching sessions to the cohort groups. And those 1 hours are themed around different themes. So therefore, you know, you may be doing a 1-hour coaching session all around complexity and another one all around leadership, and the cohort members are joining the appropriate session. And those sessions are limited to 10 members. But now what's happening is you're providing a complete package. You're able to earn the money that you are deserving of earning because of your professional skills, knowledge, and capabilities. You're able to reach a wider audience. You're able to teach it much more in depth because the material is provided for you, standardized. It's university grade learning. All the curriculum and all the learning packages and lessons have been designed by Professor Turner, who's a professor at a real university, is a real teacher. And then there's all the content, the industry expertise from me, from other contributors and partners to create that learning environment. That does not exist from any other of these training providers today. We're providing that as one of the options. In addition, James, and I'll stop, you get the option and all the material, all the exercises, all the, you know, the mural boards and things to teach this as a virtual trainer. So, you know, a live video virtual training over Zoom, as some people have been doing over the last 12 months or so to sustain their businesses. So you still get that option. And you get the option to do in-person training. You get all the materials, you know, the slide decks, all the supplementary and complementary materials, all the things to need to do the activities in class, to do the learning activities. And we even provide you with a source of all the actual physical things that we recommend at cost price from the source suppliers. So you've got all those options, but this online option which enables you to have people self-paced learning, you providing coaching, is much more valuable to the learners, much more valuable to the trainers, and something that doesn't currently exist in the traditional sort of Scrum Agile training industry.